You said you'd give this a try. You can't take it back now. I was never joking. Still, Rin couldn't shake the uneasiness in her. Just thinking about Mind made her feel frustrated, like there was a dead pixel on a screen that ruined the whole movie. You really want to date me? You're not just trying to run away from that aunt, are you? Akbab didn't answer. She simply turned to look at Rin with a small smile, which only made the younger girl more anxious. She climbed into the car, buckled her seatbelt, and couldn't even sit still in her seat. What's with that smile? So are we dating or not? You're a big girl. Figure it out yourself. Earlier you said I was just a kid. Now I'm suddenly a big girl. Akbab still didn't give a straight answer. She only smiled, amused and fond, as Rin folded her arms and muttered with mock sarcasm, "Fine, big girl it is. Then from now on, this big girl's gonna assume things on her own." She pouted all the way home, but Akbab didn't drop her off. Instead, she headed straight to her own condo. When Rin opened her mouth to say something, Akbab cut in. "Stay over tonight." And Rin let out a high-pitched gasp. "Who? We just started dating. Aren't we moving too?" Fast, Akbab flicked her forehead with a loud snap. "It's not like that. What? No, I mean, the situation just kind of feels like it, you know." Rin pretended to play dumb, though her heart was pounding when Akbab suddenly leaned in close. She tensed, shut her eyes tight. Secretly hoping this might be their first kiss as an official couple. But instead, Akbab pulled back with a smirk, satisfied that she'd successfully teased her. "We're here. You can get out," she said, unbuckling Rin's seatbelt for her. "You're terrible." Rin stepped out of the car, her mind a swirl of curiosity, anticipation, and all sorts of wild imagination. She couldn't tell if Akbab felt the same. Even once they were upstairs, she could sense the awkward tension hanging in the air between them. "Want to know what I'm thinking?" Rin asked without waiting for an answer. She went on to describe the scene in her head, Akbab pinned to the wall, returning a kiss without the slightest sign of resistance. "Oh my God, you perv. Enough. Go take a shower and clear your head already," Akbab yelled, trying to cover up her fluster, ears burning. "And after I'm done showering, then what? Maybe we could." "Will you stop already?" By the time she could get Rin to stop poking at the idea of getting physically closer, Akbab felt exhausted. But when it was time for bed, neither of them could sleep. Especially Rin, who kept tossing and turning like she had a dozen things she still wanted to say or ask. Which wasn't all that surprising for someone who woke up single and went to bed officially someone's girlfriend. "Hey, are you asleep?" "No." Rin turned over to find Akbab already looking at her. Their eyes met in the soft glow of the nightlight. "Why do you like me?" Akbab asked. Rin paused, thinking over her answer. Finally, she said, "Besides being pretty, I love everything about you. You're smart, passionate about your work, and you've got your life together." Akbab didn't reply, just smiled in response. "What about you? Why do you like me?" Akbab again didn't answer. She just offered another smile that made Rin want to place her hands on her hips, even while lying on her side. "What does that smile mean, huh? You tell me. You're good at imagining things, aren't you?" Rin groaned, dropped her head onto the pillow, and flailed around in frustration like a child throwing a tantrum in the middle of a store. Then she crawled over and grabbed Akbab, shaking her to force an answer out of the pretty woman. Her acts made Akbab laugh out loud. And even though Rin didn't get the answer she was hopping for, she did get a good night kiss that melted away all the anxiety in her head. "Better than I imagined," Rin murmured. The next morning, Akbab got up early to rearrange the room, making space so Rin could work comfortably while staying over. "Give me some encouragement," Rin said, stretching her arms wide after placing her coffee on her new temporary work desk. "Finish your task first, then I'll give you a hug," Akbab bargained, gently pressing Rin down into the chair before walking off to take care of other things. Rin was left to wrinkle her nose in annoyance at the work ahead of her, but Akbab soon circled back and hugged her from behind. "Here, you've got this." Rin beamed, but she was never the type to stop at just a little. She poked her cheek, hinting, "Right here, too." And Akbab didn't hesitate. She planted a kiss on Rin's cheek, a gesture that energized her more than 10 cups of coffee. "With motivation like this, I could work all day and—" "Night," The girl dove into her task with lively enthusiasm, while Akbab stayed close, offering drinks, snacks, and anything Rin might need to stay focused and comfortable. It took longer than they'd expected, but the house design Rin finally put together was beautiful. Akbab looked at it with quiet pride, fully confident that this project would take them far. "Great job, Rin." Akbab reached out to gently stroke Rin's head while the younger girl was still seated at her desk, but Rin didn't say anything in return. After proudly showing off her work just moments ago, she had dozed off, her head drooping with sleep. Akbab smiled fondly at the sight. Then she glanced back down at the sketch on the table, lost in thought. "This is our first model. From here on, I want everyone to push forward with the remaining work and be fully prepared for the pitch with Mr. Rain." Everyone in the meeting room stared at the 3D model displayed on the screen with their own thoughts, but one thing they all agreed on, including Auntie Jum, the cleaning lady who came in to serve drinks, was that the house was stunning. "I believe that with all of us working together, we'll definitely beat Mindspace. Let's do our best," Pat encouraged, and his words sparked a wave of energy and hope throughout the room. Everyone began to nod, looking ready to dive back into the project. Everyone except Turties, who looked visibly uneasy after hearing the name Mindspace. On the other side, her girlfriend was facing her own moment of discomfort. Mind had just finished scolding her over a design that clearly hadn't met expectations. "This isn't what we discussed. Didn't you follow my feedback at all?" Mind flipped through the house plans, her brows deeply furrowed. "I'm sorry, Miss Mind. Where exactly did you get stuck? Just tell me directly so we can fix it together." V lowered her head, full of guilt. "If I'm being completely honest, I didn't have enough time to give this my all. I'm still managing the resort project too, and there are issues going on over there." Mind didn't scold her further. She only frowned harder, puzzled as to why V was still working on that resort. She had already reassigned the project to another team. Either something had gone wrong, or someone had ignored her instructions from the start. "Mind, I need to talk to you. You out." They strode into the office and gave V a nod toward the door. Once V agreed and left, he turned to study his partner's face. "You look tense. Trouble with V's work." "Let's just say it's not what I hoped for." "Good, that's exactly what I came to talk about. I want to change the team handling Mr. Rain's house." Mind raised an eyebrow. From the beginning, they had insisted. V lead the project, even pulling her in despite the fact that she already had other work on her plate. Why the sudden change? If her team can't deliver what we need, we should give it to someone who can. But we don't have much time left. With a sudden handover, will we get everything done in time? And will the new team be able to handle the pressure? They didn't answer. Instead, he handed her his iPad. Mind looked at the design in it and was stunned. "How's the work from the backup team I arranged?" "The concept is great," Mind nodded in appreciation. "From what I know, both Mr. Rain and Mrs. Mink love Japanese design. With a little more refinement, this could work. When did you assign this team to start?" "Does it matter? What's important is, do you agree to let them take over?" It wasn't really a question. He was pressing her to say yes. Mind looked at the external hard drive he set down on her desk, uneasy in a way she couldn't explain. But she didn't seem to have any choice but to nod her agreement. They seemed satisfied. After discussing a few more work details, he went to inform V himself. "V, from now on, you don't need to manage Mr. Rain's project. Mine just wants you to help oversee this work for now, then hand everything over to the new team later." V looked stunned. Her face fell. "It's because I didn't do a good job, isn't it? That's why I'm being pulled off the project." "Not at all. Mine just wants you to focus on the resort again. Don't take it the wrong way. You've done well," V replied calmly before excusing himself to attend another meeting. That made V let out a long sigh. She was disappointed, but more than that, she was relieved. No longer being responsible for Rain's house felt like a weight had been lifted off her chest. She could finally breathe again. That evening, with more time on her hands, V left the office early to pick up her girlfriend. When Turties got in the car, she immediately noticed something different in V's expression. PV, is everything okay? I'm off Mr. Rain's project. Once the handover is done, I'll be back on the resort project full time, V said with a broad smile. Terdes went silent, unsure how to feel. You're not happy. V raised her brows at her girlfriend's reaction. Of course I am. Why wouldn't I be? Terdes finally let out a sigh of relief. I'm glad you get to go back to doing the work you really want to do. The two leaned in for a tight hug, sharing the moment of happiness together. But just as they were pulling apart and preparing to drive off, both of them jumped in surprise. Someone was leaning over the car, hands on the hood, peering through the windshield with a shocked expression. It was Yang. Terdes and V sat side by side with discomfort. Across from them sat Yang, plucking vegetables into a hot pot. Terdes was the first to break the silence. Yang, why are we sitting here exactly? Because this is going to be a long story. Hold on, let me add the basil first. All right, go on, start talking. I want a clear answer from both of you today. Why do I have to tell you anything? Terdes kept resisting, still hopping to find a way out of this without having to explain anything to Yang. But when the man raised a brow and asked, or should I start calling everyone in the office, beginning with Miss Akbab? The girl instantly hung her head. Fine, I'll talk. She turned to look at V, silently asking for permission. Her partner didn't object. At this point, they both knew it was time to tell Yang the truth. PV and I have been dating for over a year now, since I first started working at Jinta. We met through a dating app, V added. We went out without knowing we were working for rival firms. We just knew we were in the same field, so we clicked right away. When I found out that Mr. Pat and Mr. Chan hated PV's company, I decided to keep it a secret to avoid drama. PV did the same. Yang leaned back and crossed his arms, listening with a conflicted expression. So you're saying this won't be a problem, even though you're both competing for the same pitch now? You don't need to worry about that. I'm no longer handling that project. I can promise you. And how can I be sure of that? Anyone can say the words, Miss V. PV isn't lying. Of course you'd say that. You're her girlfriend. I'm not just siding with her. I trust her. What else can I do? That's how love works. If you've ever been in love, you'd understand. Yang fell silent for a good while. The quiet dragged on long enough to make both women uneasy. They glanced at each other in confusion, and when Yang wiped sudden tears from his eyes, neither of the girls knew what to think. Are you okay? Terdes asked. Her question could mean more than one thing. It just reminded me of my own experience. I went through something similar once. I matched with a girl on Tinder and later found out she was the daughter of my mom's restaurant rival. Our love was doomed. We were always worried the other would steal recipes. V let out a tired sigh, while Terdes could only shake her head. Good afternoon. I'm Rin, representing Jinta Architect. For the Love Makes a Home brief given by Mr. Rain and Mrs. Mink, our team developed and reinterpreted it into a concept called love-life balance. Balance between love and living. Love, Rin faltered. What comes next again? The lights in the conference room dimmed just as Akbab let out a sigh. Do you have the memory of a goldfish? That was quick. I just forgot. Do I really have to present? Can't you or someone else do it? You designed it. No one understands it better than you. You're the best person to present your own work. But it's our project, too. You helped a lot, Rin said, which made Akbab smile. You've got this. Just believe in yourself. Then I want to be the presenter more often. It's nice when someone's cheering me on like this. Akbab chuckled, and her smile caused Rin to feel momentarily lightheaded. Have I ever told you I like your smile? No, why? Because when you're just sitting there looking serious, you seem cold and hard to approach, like you've got something on your mind. But when you smile, you're so bright and cute, so I want to see you smile. More often. Is that so? Akbab smiled even wider. She reached over to pinch Rin's cheek, playful and fond. You're more grown-up than I thought. Of course I am. I'm old enough to love a beautiful woman now. So cheesy. Akbab wrinkled her nose in mock disgust, but she was smiling so hard it looked like her cheeks might burst. With this kind of support, I'm sure we'll win.